Hey everybody, this is David with the Wholesaler's Toolbox, and today I'm going to do a demo review of the cash buyer data feed. Now, I'm just going to start by saying that I personally use this tool, and I've personally used this tool for probably going on 7 years now. It is the first tool that I bought when I got into wholesaling, and it's something that I still have and still use. So why do I use a cash buyer data feed? Well, you've seen it online. You've seen people talking about it, about how to build your cash buyers list. And you see people in all the Facebook groups, saying, hey, if you're a cash buyer, drop your email below. You also see bandit signs out on phone poles that say, hey, investor special, cash only, call this number. That's wholesalers trying to build a cash buyers list. You get, people going to RIA meetings and to auctions, and all those things work, and it will build a cash buyers list. But there's two problems with them, and two problems that I identified right from the beginning. One is it's time consuming to build your list like that. If you're going to auctions and you're going to RIA meetings and you're trying to find out who's buying and all those things, going out and hanging up bandit signs, or spending your days on Facebook looking for buyers, it's rough. It's a rough way to do it. Also, the second negative aspect of doing it that way is that you don't know, people that go, hey, and raise their hand and say, I'm a cash buyer. You don't know if they really are. They could be another wholesaler. They could be a wannabe investor, but have never bought in a property in the past. So, then you have to spend time figuring out who's real and who's, pretending to be a cash buyer. So the cash buyer data feed eliminates all that. This is all of the people buying houses for cash, or all of the companies buying a house for cash. And we know that because this data is pulled in from the county register of deeds. So anytime anybody buys a property through a title company or an attorney or whatever, they file that deed with the county. Now we know they're cash buyers because when they file that deed, they're not filing a mortgage with it, on a typical, real estate transaction where a homeowner goes out and gets a mortgage and buys a house. When they file the paperwork, they file the mortgage and the deed at the same time. But with a cash deal, it's just the deed. So we know it's a cash transaction. So I've got this defaulted for my county, in Michigan, Wayne County, Michigan, and you can see that we've got 9,674 buyers. Now, these are buyers that have purchased a house in the last 120 days, because with the cash buyer feed, we don't want historical data. We don't care who bought properties 10 years ago. We want people that are buying now, that are actively buying. They're investors out looking for properties. So cash buyer data feed does that for you. Now, if you've got a property to sell, and in any city, around you, with me, Wayne or Taylor or Lincoln Park or Wyandotte or Riverview or wherever, you can go in to that specific city and really narrow it down. If you're looking for somebody that always buys in that city, or an investor that always buys there, or you can do it by zip code and do a radius or whatever. So let's just take Wayne County, Michigan, and let's narrow it down a little bit and let's do Taylor. Taylor is a good city for investors around here. A lot of investors buying down there. So if I go into Taylor, I've got 221 buyers that have purchased a property in the last 120 days, or the last 3 months down there. So if I've got a property under contract in Taylor, I can go in here and boom, pull up a list of everybody buying there, every individual, every business. So, but let's think about this for a minute. A lot of times people pay cash for houses that they're going to live in. They might just buy one time and because that's their primary house, they're not necessarily investor. So you see also the cash buyer data feed will tell you anybody, any company or business or individual that has purchased between 2 and 4 properties or 5 or more transactions. So we know when we see these stars that they're investors, that they're buying all the time. So to weed this down, if we've got a property in Taylor that we want to find a buyer for, we can go in here and we can say, you know what, we don't want to see one-time buyers. We just want to see companies or people that have purchased, multiple properties. And then you can see our list jumps down to 43. 43 companies or people in the last 120 days have bought a property down there. All right. So let's say we're under the gun. Let's say, we've got a property. We don't want to take the time to send them a postcard or a letter and say, hey, I've got a property under contract. I want to get in touch with these people right now. We can get rid of everybody that doesn't have a phone number in here in the database, and it brings us down to 19. Now with these 19, you can go right in here. You can go into the transaction details in Taylor. So let's go in here, pull up the transactions. You can see they've bought a couple properties, one in Taylor, one in Allen Park. If we go into the Taylor transaction, we can see here's their company information. They're on Snow Avenue in Dearborn, and here's a phone number for them, so we can call them right now and just say, hey, I've got a property under contract in Taylor. I saw that you just recently bought a property there. Are you actively buying? Would you be interested in this? Can I get your email and I'll send you over the information, right? So we can do that with any company in here. Get their phone number, call them, and just say, "Hey, are you interested?" So that's a great thing about the cash buyer data feed when they have the. That's a great thing about the cash buyer data feed when they have the phone number. You can just select that and call them. You can see you can also change this. You can just eliminate private buyers altogether. We can bring it down to just LLCs buying. Say we leave phone number, no phone number, but just get rid of all the private buyers and leave the LLCs. We bring our number to 31. So you can play with this and play with the purchase price and assess value, purchase date, all that information. But you can see how you can sort that and build a list however you want. Now, what I do once you get this whittled down, you can take this information, you can leave it right in this database, or you can put it into your email, if you've got a Gmail account or whatever, and you can start getting email addresses for these people and just adding them to your Gmail or whatever mail server you use. So then when you get a property, you can just blast it out to all of them. All right. And you can do that in this system too. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's hop over here into my leads. And when you save a property, it comes over into this leads section for you. You can also add labels if you want to. You can set up 4 different cities. So then you can just pull up, people for those cities that you have saved in your system. I don't personally use that, but if you're using this as a database, you can use it. Again, you can set up labels and do whatever you want in there. This is where you can set up your default search, where you pick your state and your county, and it will show you, when you log in, it will automatically just pull up that county for you. You can set up alerts. This is great. So if you just add an alert, you can pick any city and pick your criteria. Then every time a new purchase goes in here, a new cash transaction, it's going to either text you or email you that there's a new search result. So then if you're looking for deals, you can call these people and say, "Hey, I'm an investor. I saw that you recently bought a property down in, in Taylor or, whatever city. Are you interested in buying or in selling that right now? I might be interested in buying it if you just want to sell it as is and make a couple bucks on it, so you can generate leads like that. Or if they go, no, I'm gonna, rehab it and, and flip it and all that stuff, you can say, great, I come across a lot of properties down there. Could I get you on my mailing list? So when I get new things, maybe I can send them your way and see if you're interested. They're gonna go, absolutely, and just start building those relationships with people. All right, moving on over here, we have a task calendar. Again, I don't use this. I'll be honest with you, I don't personally use it, but it's really cool. It's, if you don't have a calendar you're using, again, like Gmail or something like that, you can go right in here and set up tasks like I did right here. I put one in here, send Taylor mailer down here. But you just, go in and plug whatever the task name is, when you want to do it, any notes, set up your reminder. You can say, hey, email me or send me a text and remind me, and add it to your calendar. And it's a nice little tool in here. Going into marketing, we have letter templates, postcard templates that you can customize, and you can go in here and you can create a new template. You can click on here to see what templates are they've already got loaded in here, what's working. So what happens is when you get a property under contract, you can go in here and pick a template, pick a letter, and or a postcard, and you can go in here and just put your website. You can put your phone number in here, the property details, picture of the property, and set up a campaign and just mail this out to them, and it will drop in the mailbox the next day. So if you've got a property in whatever city, you've gone out, you've put it under contract, you've taken pictures, you can come back and load it up here and say, okay, I'm going to send this postcard to everybody that's bought a property in that city, and go in here, put the details in it, click send, boom, it's out. And within a couple of days you'll start getting calls off of it. And that's what I did when I started in the business. All right, and I still do it, of course, now that I have a list built up of regular buyers that I sell to. That first I'll go to that list and I'll send it out to all of them. But if nobody's interested, I come back to the cash buyer data feed, put it in here, send it out, and wait a couple of days and start getting some calls on it. Also, if you're working virtually and you're working different markets, you can go in here, and just every time you get a property under contract, you can do this. You put them in your system, you send it out, in a couple of days, they get a postcard or a letter, and start calling you. They also have phone scripts in here. You can add, more scripts if you like, do some custom stuff. I've got my mailing list in there. Your marketing history. I don't have anything recently. Again, I've got regular buyers that I'm selling to. Direct mailers. You can, if you're printing, or I'm sorry, if you're mailing to less than 50 cash buyers, you have to print these out because their mail service only will do over 50. So, but you can go in here and print out your mailing labels on like an Avery label, your envelopes, your mailing lists, return labels, and all that stuff. All right. And then lastly, in the marketing tools here, we have the heat map function, and you can go in here and see, and you can see Detroit's a hot investor market, but you can go in here and see all the pockets that are hot and where investors like to buy. So when you go out and you do your marketing or you do your driving for dollars, you know where to hit, you know where to go, and find properties and do all that. So it's a great tool. I like the heat map in here. If you have any questions with the cash buyer data feed, all the information's right here. You can reach out to them by phone. You can do live chat. You can email them. I'll tell you, all of their customer support is right in their office, right here in Campbell, New York. I take that back. Right now, they're not in there because of COVID, but typically they're in the office. They're all working virtually from home right now, but everybody's local, all right, and everybody's from the US. And when you call them, they pick up the phone. When you do live chat, they respond quickly. This isn't like a system where you get and then like you can't get a hold of everybody. Cameron Dunlap, who owns Real Property RT or Real Prop RT or Real Estate Wealth Network, and builds all these data feeds. He's very, very committed to the business. He's an active investor, and customer service is like his number one priority. So you never have to worry about getting a hold of anybody if you have any questions. And also they have I'm not going to let this run, but there's a training in here where Josh does a better job than I have done, running through the system. But for time constraints, I'm doing this short. But this is like an hour and a half training video that he goes through and has all the frequently asked questions and all that stuff. So great training on the system as well. So that's it. I just wanted to run through this and really emphasize for people trying to build their cash buyers list that there's a lot of ways you can do it, but this is by far the easiest way, and in a system that was really built just for finding cash buyers, not a cash buyer data that was stuck into some other system that you kind of have to weed through it to figure it out. The cash buyer data feed is strictly just built around finding cash buyers. All right. So that's it for the video. Hope it, helps you make a decision on if the cash buyer data feed is right for you. And that's it for this video. And I will talk to you again soon.